is 5:30. We will call our meeting to order with a roll call vote. Cassidy?
Mike Bullitt. William Beck. Colleen Lautenbach. Here. Allison Pint. Here. Shelby Poole. Greg Sand. Carly Sherrill. Here. Julian Scornell.
Here.
Joe Valentine.
Here.
All right, moving on to our mission and vision. Allison, could you please read those?
Yep, the mission of WLA is to utilize leadership-based programs and strategies grounded in solid research, combined with the demonstrated success of core knowledge curriculum as a basis of a rigorous overall educational program that builds strong skills in math, reading, literature, writing, music, science, and technology. The vision of WLA is to be a school where students and graduates become exceptional leaders and are prepared to take on the academic and leadership challenges they will face in high school and beyond.
All right, thank you. Now, I'd like to make a motion to approve the June board meeting minutes.
Second.
All right, there's been a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Very good. Number 4, conflict of interest declaration. Does anybody have any conflict of interest for tonight's agenda? All right, very good. 5.1, delegation of public comment items. Nothing to be delegated for public comment. Moving on to 6.1, the board report. I do not have a board report. So 6.2, the superintendent's report that was listed in your agenda. And Mr. Broderick, I believe you're going to review that for us.
I am. Won't be as quick as the board report, but we'll try and get through it. So I have Jonas's board report. You have it in your documentation as well, so I'll just kind of fly through some of the major points. So finance and governance committees both met. Our final average daily membership ended at 879.25. We've been doing a couple different planning things. Jonas has attended a couple things to get our conditional use permits for the new space, and we're still on track with that. We're hoping for a closing on or around that July 22nd date, but everything's moving in the right direction to get in, and unless we have any delays of any sort, to be ready to rock for the start of the new school year in that new space. So,
Can you clarify the conditional use, that was just so that we could get in and start demolition without signing or without like owning?
yeah, a conditional use permit is also needed to be able to operate as a school because you're permitted to do certain things in certain buildings. So like when we went to get the Globe building initially, we had to make sure we had the right permits in place in order to operate, because they were operating as a secondary or a college. We had to get the right permits in place with parking and all those types of things. So that's what we're really working on, is just to make sure that they're going to okay us to make sure that we can be a school inside that facility. And all things look really good with that. And so we've gone to some city planning meetings and some things where people could contest if they had issues or if they had qualms with what was going on, and we've gotten through those and kind of moving forward. So, okay, instructional leadership. So scrolling down, we're still working on our core knowledge school of distinction status. That's what we want to get to. Right now, the reason that Jonas is not here is because he is at the core knowledge conference doing some of that work. We talked to him a little bit earlier today, and he said wonderful, wonderful speakers. We currently have, I believe both principals are there, our principal and our assistant principal, and then Megan Nath is also there. So a lot of people doing all those types of things. We have looked at the schedule for next year and added an advanced math class options for students with qualifying scores in grades 6 and 7. Details, Jonas will present more on that in the July meeting, so that will go on the future items once we get to that point of the board meeting to kind of talk about that. And we've also been really working hard at looking at that daily schedule to try and give our students as many options as possible to see different students throughout their day. So especially in those upper grades, so they're not starting the day with the same 24 kids, and with those same 24 kids throughout the day. So opening up some schedule opportunities to hopefully, we know we can't get you with all different kids all the time because we only have a certain number of kids in a certain number of sections, but a little variety in the day is kind of our goal as we kind of work on that. And so one of the things that we did to do that, or one of the things that is looking like, is having a staggered prep time for some of those older grades. So that way we have other pockets to be able to put those students in, because what kind of held us up at different times is having all those students in the same prep time doesn't allow you to kind of rotate them the way that you need to, because you can only really put them in 4 places, and it just mathematically doesn't always work. So a lot of work being done on that schedule to kind of make sure that it all clicks and that it's the best for our students.
I totally dig that. I just want to make sure that each teacher feels supported and connected during their prep time. So
Yep.
that's just something that I'm thinking of.
Yeah, and when we've been building that, we've been trying to make it so that like subjects share a prep.
Perfect.
So if you're 6, 7, 8, 9, 10,
Awesome.
like math, so hopefully those people can get together as well. And still also trying to give as many lunch periods together as possible to be able to have some time with your team. Okay, financial management. Fiscal year 25 May financial reports indicates that our overall expenditures and revenues are consistent with the working budget. Final budget revision for fiscal year 25 is included in the board packet for this month. This is included to ensure that the final expenditures are within the variation allowed. So we've looked at the spending and met with the people that need be, that are in charge of the different pieces of the budget, to make sure that we fall in line with the percentages. And so you'll see that final budget correction, so that way we make sure we're all good here at the end of the year. And then we continue to adjust the fiscal year 26 working budget with actual salaries and positions are filled, and with the adjustments made based upon the actual bids received for general education related to the facilities project. So when you start off with that budget, you're kind of thinking, hey, it's going to cost about this much, and now we're starting to plug in with actual salaries, actual positions, when we know what people's kind of backgrounds are, and then our actual bids that we're receiving for the work that needs to be done, that we're spending that money on. Human resources management. 4 open positions currently. So we have a lower school art that we're still looking for, upper school physical education and health, special education for kindergarten, and special education for first grade. We're also kind of looking for multiple paraprofessionals, and we're looking for a receptionist for what we're calling building C right now, because we need someone to work in that kind of main entry and kind of do that type of work. So a little bit about the effective learning environment. So the purchase agreement for building C, it remains on track to close by July 22nd. We're engaged with ongoing conversations with tenants to see, specifically in that second floor area, to see what type of avenues they want to go down on whether or not they want to continue to fulfill their lease, or whether or not there are different avenues that can be mutually beneficial for both parties to kind of figure out how that space is going to be used. Renovation on third floor building is supposed to start. They were out yesterday to measure out for some sheetrock and to start demo. They've got all their final orders in, so I don't anticipate them being out tomorrow, but I would anticipate them being out early next week to really start that demo and start putting that up. It's going to be a real quick project building those 2 classrooms, but we've gotten that whole space cleared. All the classrooms on 3A have already been waxed and painted, so those teachers are already able to get back in their kind of spaces. So we're all prepared for the construction to go, and then we'll just kind of jump and move as it kind of comes forward. Trying to check one more thing. Communication management. So we did conduct grade level meetings for families in grades 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 over the final 2 weeks of schools. They were designed to share plans for each grade moving forward now that we have a facility and plans for the upper grades. So we had been telling families for a while, you know, this is what we think is going to happen. And now as things start to fall in place, and now that we have a facility, and now that we can kind of really envision what it's going to look like, we tried to give a much clearer message and open it up for questions that those families may have during those time periods. And then conducted a family survey that asked families about their degree of satisfaction with WLA regarding communication, academics, and school environment. And you'll be able to see that, or you already did see that, but we'll talk a little bit about that kind of moving on. But that is the superintendent report given by the non-superintendent representative. Great job. Cool.
Very good.
All right.
All right, thanks, Ben.
Yep.
All right, moving on to the financial and supplemental report, Finance Committee report by me. We held our regularly scheduled Finance Committee meeting on Wednesday, June 11th. It was 4:30 virtual meeting. During this meeting, Dustin did review the financial statements. As Ben said, everything is within the normal ranges and doing just fine. And we discussed the FY revised and proposed FY '26 original budgets. Again, just making some of those normal adjustments as well. Very quick meeting, probably the fastest I've ever had. It was done by 4:41.
Wow.
I know, it was so fast. And then, meeting again with the Finance Committee will be Wednesday, July 9th at 4:30. Questions in regards to the Finance Committee meeting? No. Okay, well, with that being said, I'll review those financial statements, the key indicators. Sorry, a little slow. So, key financial indicators for May, the ADM overview. The original working budget was 847, the working budget is 880, and the actual enrollment 879.25.
Nailed it.
The school's original budgeted surplus in the general fund for the year is $233,463. The school is budgeting to spend $5,000 of the community service fund, a projected cumulative fund balance of $2,594,732, or 25% of expenditures at fiscal year end. The school's proposed revised budget is projecting a surplus of $302,890 at fiscal year end, which would result in an ending fund balance of $2,664,159, or 24% of the total expenditures. The projected days of cash on hand is 78 days of annual expenditures. This is above 45 days, which meets the minimum bond covenants. Projected debt service coverage is estimated to be 1.47. Given the school will be bonding in FY '26, the required debt service coverage ratio is 1.25. WLA will be within this requirement. Financial key statement key points. As of month end, 91.67% of the year was complete. Cash balance of the reporting period is $1,556,285 and is down from $1,718,287 in the previous month due to the regular processing of transactions, as well as a larger payment towards the busing contracts. The revenues received at the end of the reporting period is 89.2% of the working budget, and expenditures dispersed at the end of the reporting period is 88.7% of the working budget. Other items, the FY title amendments have been submitted to the Department of Education. The FY '25 proposed revised and FY '26 proposed original budgets are included for your review, following by your colorful black graphs to show where everything is at, and line item statements. Are there any questions that I may try to entertain?
Is there any spending down that we need to do in order for money to not be locked in due to the fact that we're going to bonding?
That would be a really good question for Jonas to answer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I do not know the answer to that question.
We typically do have some spending down that we do. but we want to make sure that we hit all the bond covenants for the cash on hand and for the percentage that we need to. So when we meet with those different, when we meet with like Dustin and those types of things, those are the discussions that we kind of have, so we make sure that we're on track to meet our goals as well as spend money
Right.
that needs to be spent.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So that's maybe already been,
Yeah, yep, everything is wrapped up for this past fiscal year.
okay.
For the future, state incomes, I believe the state was considering cuts. Do you know if they actually made those cuts, or?
I don't know if we've been notified yet. Yeah, true. All right. Well, if that is the end of our discussion there, then I would like to make a motion to approve the May financials and June committee meeting minutes.
Second.
There's been a motion and a second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, so 6.3.2, adopt revised final budget for FY '25. Cassidy, do we need to do a roll call vote for that?
Sure. Do you want to make the motion first?
Thank you, yes, I'll make a motion to adopt the revised final budget for FY '25.
Do we need a second first, or?
Second.
Thank you.
I don't remember. Colleen Lautenbach?
Yes.
Allison Pitt?
Yes.
Carly Sherrill? Yes. Julian Squirrel?
Yes,
Joe Valentine?
Yes.
all right. Moving on, or the motion is passed, sorry. 6.4, the governance committee report. Joe?
Yeah, so the governance committee met on Thursday, June 12th at 5 o'clock. And we went over more of the 400 series for policy, specifically 418, 419, 425, and 428, which we didn't find anything significant. Everything was just updating that review date and formatting just to keep everything consistent. So those already got sent on to Cassidy. And then, so we did the first reading from the board of directors. Policies 413, 210, 809, 540. Actually, those are final, for the final review. So those were in the board packet. So it was actually also a quick meeting. We had some future discussions that are on there, and I know our next governance meeting has a pretty heavy agenda because Jonah sent quite a few things. So that next governance meeting is on Thursday, July 10th at 5 p.m. And I guess a heads up, we'll be switching to Microsoft Teams since Rich will no longer be with us. That was his last meeting, which I'm definitely bummed about. He did a great job. So I guess I got roped into it. I don't know how that works for that second one. I don't know if I make that motion too, or if somebody else has to.
Maybe we have someone else.
Yeah.
So unless anybody has any other questions or anything, it was a pretty straightforward one.
So these were the final readings for those policies, is that correct?
Yeah, those were actually the final. I think
Yeah.
there was a-
And there weren't any changes made to the dress code policy?
Yes, we removed that's one of
The
those,
PE
that's the
uniforms?
final, removing PE uniforms.
Mhm.
And then we added like a gray long sleeve shirt being allowed under the uniforms because we know white doesn't stay white, especially for
Right.
the youngers. And another color for sweaters, I think, so it's not
Right.
just navy as a choice, but PE uniforms are removed. So if we approve those policies under the second
Oh,
reading,
I
then
see it
the
right there, the
website page will
cardigans
have
is
to
what
be
you're showing
updated
there.
in addition to the policy itself.
Right. Has there been any discussion or any thought behind putting up physical pictures of what uniforms should look like?
Is that on the website at all, Cassidy?
No, there's not.
I think there used to be a picture, but.
Yeah, there used to be a lot of pictures.
For elementary students, there were, but not for the middle school and now high school students. Because where I'm teaching at, we see a lot of variance in that area, and that's something that really should be addressed.
Yeah.
Another thing that, and I put this actually on Jonas's review, but, and I apologize for not being present, but something else, along with exact photographs of what the uniforms look like when students are wearing them, if there's a possible way to go to a preferred vendor who we only purchase our uniforms from. So for instance, the students aren't just going to Costco and buying the khaki leggings to wear with a tank top or whatever underneath it. And because there's a lot of misnomers out there about black leggings, and students think that black leggings are an acceptable part of the uniform, whereas it's not at all. It's just that something they could wear under a skirt. So that's something that I see a lot of, and I do my best to advise. However, those things aren't very clearly stated in the policy. I mean, it may say it here in black and white, but a picture tells 1,000 things.
Yeah.
So that's something that we could go to. I would like to see pictures with students presented in the uniform so that they know what they look like, as well as our parents seeing that as well. Something else that concerns me is uniforms that aren't quite presentable, meaning they're full of holes, or they're very dirty, or they're not in uniform at all. Or they might be in half a uniform, but not the full uniform. There's lots of differences in how the middle school students dress versus how the elementary students dress, not only in what they're wearing, but how they're wearing it. And so I think that pictures would help with some of that. And lastly, the color of the uniforms. There's a lot of misnomers in the elementary about what colors they should be wearing for their shirts. Elementary only has the white, dark gray, and navy blue, and we have a lot of kids coming with the light blue shirts.
Because they were sold to them. Like, that should never have happened.
Correct,
Yeah.
but they should also know not to buy them as well.
Right.
So being advised on what they should be wearing and should not be wearing.
And as a new staff member last year, I was like, I have no idea.
Yeah, so
You know.
pictures would tell a better story as to how you should be dressed in our school and what is appropriate and what is not appropriate. So,
Did we used to have like the link on the website to go to?
It's still
there, but that's not necessarily
that's not necessarily how people do it.
required or whatever.
Like if you can go to Target and buy something cheaper
Yeah.
and whatever, you're gonna go do that, and I get that.
Yeah.
So having a preferred vendor, like if you go to St. Croix Prep, you're only allowed to buy these uniforms, this brand, and this style from this uniform vendor. So I think that might be something helpful. And I don't mean to be overbearing, but I've talked to Mr. Broderick 1 or 2 times about the free and reduced lunches and how students at other schools who are on free and reduced lunch have opportunities for uniforms as well, either free or reduced in some way. So I think as our school gets bigger and we draw students from other areas, that's something that we should really look into so that we can get everybody in uniforms.
Yeah. So I'll add that to the next governance meeting agenda.
Thank you. Thank you for listening.
I wonder if there are parents that we're gonna have to ask permission, because I would imagine that not everybody will want their child photographed, so I wonder if it's like,
Right.
hey, we need this, would you be willing to? Like,
I think those of us who don't want our kids photographed assign something at the
Yes.
beginning of the year so everyone else is
Right.
fair game.
So you know,
Information
yeah.
we've been used.
but I wonder if we could just be like, hey, we need some photographs of students wearing proper, and it could even just be the same child wearing, just
Yeah.
changing into a different.
Or if you're someone who's handy at AI, I'm sure it can easily be done through AI as well with figures.
Is that you?
Oh.
Well, I've just started to see some of it now at work, and it's kind of mind-boggling.
I've tried it. I actually have tried it because I've been trying to get pictures for a while, and you have to say everything in a certain way, right,
Yeah.
to get exactly what you want.
Yeah.
But I just think that would be helpful so that everybody is on the same page. And
Well, and even if you went down that road and went, well, this is the specific vendor, that vendor might be able to provide photos,
Mhm.
just models or
Yep.
something,
yep, they do. I'm trying to find the vendor because I was in contact with someone. Sorry, I don't know where it's at now, but those are just things I look at sometimes.
So then do we not want to approve the uniform policy?
I mean, we could approve the changes so people know that they should not be getting PE uniforms for next year, and then we can add photos to it later when I presume we will likely change verbiage to upper school and lower school.
Right.
Do we maybe change it to say approve the second read or the final reading or the second reading, and then also
Allowing photos to be added.
well, or to that we're gonna take these these comments to the future governance committee
Next.
to discuss and approve it that way, is that?
And as far as the PE uniform goes, isn't that just a simple phone call to the vendor saying, don't sell those anymore?
Those who already have them from this year who happen to fit them, or siblings happen to fit them.
Yeah, well then, it's stated in there that they should wear them to school. It's
Right.
just-
Yeah, but we would just need to approve it to make it as such.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't think we should table the whole thing for now.
I would be in favor of that, if that works for you guys, to get the more final.
Yeah, so do we,
So, if you just want to approve the other,
you have to forgive me, which one is the?
it's 540.
540, so we'll say, I'll just say of the other three,
Mhm.
and we'll just move 540 back to governance. Okay. So I'll make a motion to approve the June governance meeting minutes and enter policies 210, 413, and 809 into the second reading.
All right, there's been a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, there's been a motion and a second to approve the June governance meeting minutes and enter policies 210, 413, and 809 into second reading. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, the motion passes.
So then I will motion to approve Joe Valentine taking over as the governance chair.
Second? There's been a motion and a second to approve Joe Valentine as the governance chair. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oh, I forget.
I'm abstaining.
You have to abstain.
No,
Yeah,
abstain.
Abstain, yes. All right, there's been motion, so passes. Congratulations.
Thank you, thank you.
Facilities committee report was to be done by Mike Blunt. Mr. Broderick, do you want to say anything? I think you've said a lot already.
Yeah, just everything's on track. We're moving forward, we're moving quick, and we're excited for the possibilities that are going to be for our next kind of school year. So,
Yeah?
if anyone has any questions regarding facilities overall as an update, let me know, or we can talk about it. But otherwise, I think you've heard a lot about all the changes that are taking place.
Mhm.
Are we gonna meet in July online? You know, we usually have like a second Tuesday.
We'll try. We're gonna try and get it. We'll try and get it. Everyone to be able to meet.
Okay.
Yeah, we should.
Okay.
We gotta go over a couple updated things.
Okay, I'll keep an eye out for it.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, and then we'll move on to 7.1, the election results. The election was finished in June, is that right, Cassidy? June. And in those results, we have Ryan Eklund being the new parent board representative, Maddie Knudsen as teacher representative, and they will be seated at the July board meeting. Board seats that will be available as well, something to think about. Board secretary will be available, and board treasurer will be available, as well as board chair.
I think we're appointing them tonight.
Oh, you're appointing them tonight?
I think so, because we would need to start the next meeting with, because all three of them, well, two of them will be open.
Don't you usually wait for the new people to be seated so that they could? I don't remember.
I don't remember either. I think that we usually
Okay.
refrain new people from joining.
Join,
those
okay,
anyway,
okay, all right.
Unless you guys want to wait another meeting.
We need an official chair for next week.
Yes, okay, so, for board secretary, is there anyone willing to take on that
Have
position?
everyone here though.
I know.
either, So I don't want any of those.
Well, Mike's.
I would be willing to do secretary.
Okay,
And I know Shelby said she would be willing to remain on
Yep.
as chair if no one else is wanting to take over.
mm-hmm,
Two
And
of
then-
those who are not here are not returning. Is William even on finance?
The only one
Greg.
who would be willing back is still
still on the board?
on the board.
But he's not on finance.
No, he's not been.
He got added to governance committee.
Okay,
But that's all, yeah.
all right. Allison?
I want nothing.
We can wait and see if one of them.
That's one you could probably wait. You could probably wait with the board chair, or the board treasurer one for next week. And it's really not bad.
I know, but I'm not on finance either.
What are you on right now?
Governance.
You're on governance and you're on facilities. Okay. You can jump ships anytime.
What, can you describe 3 things that are your responsibilities?
Yeah, you organize the meeting, you run the meeting, and that's really about it. And you read the report of the board. I am not a finance expert by any means. That's what Dustin is there for, and Jonas is on top of all of that as well. It's really more of an organizational thing, and then you sometimes need to sign off on some purchases if they're over a certain amount. But again, it's always very clearly stated as to what, why, and how. So,
When you're running the meeting, you have like a...
just like this.
thing. Okay.
Yeah, and it's pretty much the same standard thing.
And Jonas would help you, I'm sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Dustin goes over the finance.
Yeah, they go over everything. Sometimes there's more, and there probably will be more things to be approved with the new building and new purchases and so forth. But again, those are all very clearly covered by Jonas and Dustin, and it's...
Okay. And your meetings are usually when? Again?
We do those on Wednesdays. It's the second Wednesdays,
What time?
4:30, but you can always
I'll
change
do it.
that as well.
I'll be the treasurer.
Yay!
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so Colleen will be our new treasurer. And if you need
Okay. Thank you.
anything, just let me know. And I've been doing the meetings on Zoom. You can do it how you want to.
Okay.
Google or whatever.
So July, what is it then? 14th?
July 17th, I believe, will be the next
Well, that's the
one.
next meeting for.
Oh, yeah. 11th?
So then it would be.
July 9th?
July 9th.
Okay.
Okay.
And I will share the folder with you.
Thank you. Cool.
And I'll show you as well how to make up your agenda. You pretty much just cut and paste.
Okay.
Update the dates and times and stuff like that.
So are
Cool.
we motioning for that, or are we just
Yeah.
good? Okay.
Okay, so, I'll make a motion for Colleen to be appointed as Colleen Lautenbach to be appointed as board treasurer, for Carly Sherrill to be appointed as board secretary, and Shelby Poole to be appointed as board chair.
Second.
There's been a motion and a second for the appointed people to take those open seats on the board. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Any abstentions? All right, motion passes. Thank you guys for your service. Well done. Okay, 7.3 are the board self-evaluations. If you guys are all looking on your computers, you want to click on that. We have paper copies.
All right.
So, sorry. So we do these every year as well. Just quick, just reflecting on your participation on the board and fulfilling your responsibilities. So take a moment to do that.
You can keep these, it's just for yourself.
Should I read through these or anything?
Nah.
Nah? Okay, good. Taking the time to do that, and a little self-reflection on your participation on the board. 7.4 is our family survey data. If you haven't already, you can click on that and review. Overall, it looks like our families are very satisfied with WLA and how we communicate. Mine won't get bigger, go bigger. Highest level of responses coming from 5th grade. That's nice to see.
I was wondering what that low percent is in first and second, and why is it that, does anybody have any ideas why we weren't getting this is,
So the families.
I got you.
Force it, not.
I got you. But we still didn't have very much
Participation.
participation. Like,
It was only sent out once,
Yeah.
so I think if it was sent out twice, it'd be better too.
Or a reminder.
Yeah.
was it, when was it sent out? When school was all done?
I feel like it was before school was done.
I think it was like the last week maybe.
Yeah.
So it was probably.
Pretty busy. Yeah. I think we've struggled with this in the past as well. It's usually not very well completed. This is probably the shortest one we've ever done that I've seen, so I'd like there a bit more.
Would there have been a benefit for teachers to send this link out to families? Because it also would have been cool for them to reflect on us as teachers too. That was
Yeah.
something
And in
I
past
would
years
like
we've done that.
Yes, that's what I saw, yeah.
Yeah,
So for next year.
Yeah.
for next year.
Something to note for next year.
Yeah.
We sent it out in May.
Before.
With the crazy.
chaos of the
Yeah.
year, yeah.
That sounds good.
Mhm.
Okay, so moving on to 7.5, appointing community seat discussion. Ashley Patasik has volunteered to be a part of our board as a community member seat. Her children are no longer going to our school, so she would like to take that position. And we would like to appoint you at the July, and seat you at the July meeting as well. Yay! Yay for us too, so thank you for doing that. Thank you. All right, well, at this time, I'd like to make a motion to close our open meeting as permitted by section 13D.05 subdivision 3A in order to conduct the annual review of the superintendent.
Someone second?
Can someone second that motion, please?
Second.
Thank you. There's been a motion and a second. We will close our meeting for our review.
Yeah.
to our open forum.
Any opposed?
Thank you. Anybody opposed?
And I was just thinking
Any
the
abstentions?
statement. Oh,
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. All right, do we want to open the door and see if our
Oh, yeah.
esteemed guests want to come back in?
Ben, Ashley.
Are you here?
I'll text him. I'll text him.
Okay. Okay. With our meeting being open to the general public again, we are on action item 9.1 to amend Jonas Bugin's contract. After discussion, I would like to make a motion to amend Jonas Bugin's contract
Second?
To
increase the 2.9%.
and decrease his contract days to 235 and 15 days PTO.
Thank you. Yes, as stated. There's been a
Second.
motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any abstentions? Not in favor? Motion passes. All right, so 9.2 is the Education, Identity, and Access Management Board Resolution. So I'm going to read, this is this long statement, correct?
Mhm.
Okay, this, and then I will make a motion for this as well. The Minnesota Department of Education.
Wait, you'll make a motion to, and then read that.
Oh, I'm sorry, thank you. I would like to make a motion to Minnesota Department of Education Professional Educator Licensing Standards Board and Officer of Higher Education require annual designation of an identified official with authority for each local educational agency that uses the Educational Identity and Access Management System. The Iowa is responsible for authorizing, reviewing, and recertifying issuer access for their local educational agency in accordance with the State of Minnesota Enterprise Identity and Access Management Standard, which states that all users' access rights to Minnesota state systems must be reviewed and recertified at least annually. The Iowa will authorize user access to state Minnesota education secure systems in accordance with the user's assigned job duties and will revoke that user's access when it is no longer needed to perform their job duties. Your school board or equivalent governing board must designate an Iowa to authorize user access to state of Minnesota education secure websites for your organization. This EDIM board resolution must be completed and submitted to the Minnesota Department of Education annually, as well as any time there is a change in the assignment of the identified official with authority. It is strongly recommended that only one person at the local educational agency or organization, the superintendent or executive director, is designated as the Iowa. The Iowa will grant the Iowa a proxy roles. Woodbury Leadership Academy hereby designates Mr. Jonas Bugin as their Iowa. Anybody second?
Second.
Thank you. There's been a motion and a second to designate Jonas Bugin as the Educational Identity and Access Management Officer.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, please.
Did we do this last year?
Yes.
Is this a yearly thing?
Yeah.
Because I joined in July, I think. so
Yeah.
I did-
Oh.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, we
do
did it
every
last
year.
June.
Got it.
We changed it from Kathy to July.
Yeah.
That's an annual thing.
Yeah.
An annual.
Yeah.
Okay.
Essentially, the Iowa gets to basically delegate out those of us that get to report to state reporting. So like the DERS reporting and that type of stuff. Jonas, if put in that position, gets to assign us to be able to do that.
Okay.
All right, there's been a motion and a second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? The motion passes.
This seems like a ridiculous thing to have in place. Like, it's very, it's like an obvious thing, so why there's so much formality? It seems silly.
It's very documented.
Yeah.
Yes.
Very secure.
All right, 9.3, approval of the May 22nd, 2025 meeting minutes. I'll make a motion to approve those meeting minutes.
Second.
Been a motion and a second to approve the May 22nd, 2025 meeting minutes. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Abstentions? The motion passes. 9.4, to appoint the ABC board member, Ben?
Yeah, so what happens is ABC has 3 members. That's the affiliated building company that essentially owns our buildings, right? Because a charter school can't own their own buildings, they have an affiliated building company that does that. But our terms come up at the end of June, and so we are going to want the board to approve the appointment of 2 new members to the ABC. I would not be renewing my term with the ABC, and neither would Diane Thiegs. And in our place would be Greg and Andy Folks will be joining the ABC. So our hope is that you appoint Greg Zane and Mandy Folks to the ABC.
So I will make a motion to approve the appointment of Mandy Folks and Greg Sane to the ABC. Do I have to add Ashley to stay? Is her term up? Okay,
Sure.
so. motion
And
to approve
Ashley
those
as
two.
well?
No,
No, okay. All right, there's been a motion to appoint Greg Sane and Mandy Folks to the ABC board members.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? The motion passes. All right, 9.5, approval of bond finance resolution. I don't know where to go to from that. I was just looking through my emails and those amendments. This is from Craig Kepler at 514. Did you put this in there?
Yeah, I replaced it.
Oh, okay, so it says in paragraph 3, the existing building used for grades 6 through 12, but we went to grade 9 this year. So it doesn't
And
also say the.
K through 9,
Yeah,
which is being updated.
so those were the updates. That was the
It did get
update.
updated.
It did get updated, okay, so,
Jonah sent me a new one right after the board meeting started too, so.
okay, so it's been updated in those,
With the grades and WA.
okay. Is there any more discussion on the resolutions or the amended lease agreements? All right,
So I'll motion to approve the bond finance resolutions recognizing Jonas as superintendent being synonymous with executive director in the applicable documents.
sounds good. Second?
Yeah, you seconded.
All right, there's been a motion and a second to approve the bond finance resolutions. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion passes. All right. So, 10.1, board communication and future agenda items and reflection. Future agenda items, note that the next board meeting will be July 17th. It's moved to the 3rd Thursday of the month, with July 17th already being that.
If I could just pop in and thank you for your service, Jolene. And I
Absolutely.
know Mike and Greg are not here, but thanking them as well for their service to the board. We
Very good,
appreciate you.
thank you. Yeah, it's been a pleasure to be a part of it all and excited to see where we go to from here. So, with that being said, is there a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn.
There's been a motion, and a second? Second to adjourn, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, so